Fame has a special meaning for a true knight. It extends far beyond his personal reputation and affects his entire family. A knight is always part of a larger family lineage, and his fame serves to adorn his entire lineage. Patronymics and speculation about his exploits make their way into taverns and spread around, sparking legends. However, fame is not the prerogative of a single knight. It is rooted deep in history, in ties to ancestors and family ties. This glory exudes power, motivating a knight to climb to the top of the world to continue the glory of an ancient and noble lineage. It is a tradition, simple and enlightened by the wisdom of many generations. There are many ways in the world to obtain this great glory. Of course, the most reliable of these is war, where a knight can demonstrate his bravery and bravura feats. However, war is not the only way. Loyalty to word and duty, noble virtues, generosity, and bravery, all these also bring glory to a noble man. Tournaments, however, provide a special opportunity. In them, knights fight with real weapons, like real warfare, where rivals faced off with fierce strength and skill. The splendor and bravery at tournaments not only raises the knight to a pedestal of glory, but also captures the imagination of the crowd, leaving a legacy of a true hero. So the knight seeks glory not only for his own sake, but also for the sake of his family. He walks the path, glorifying his family and continuing the glorious legacy of his ancestors. Undoubtedly, the path to glory of the knight is not easy, but it is in this path that his true strength, fortitude, and nobility are manifested. The first forms of tournaments didn't differ significantly from real warfare. In fact, they weren't even called tournaments yet. Instead, groups of knights gathered in open fields, divided into roughly equal teams, and fought using real weapons. The only difference was that the knights engaged in battle without hatred. They fought in a friendly, good-natured manner. No one sought to kill his opponent, and if someone fell off his horse or was knocked out of the saddle, he was given the utmost respect. The fallen man was given time to get up and to leave the ranks with dignity, giving place to the horses, which, excited by the excitement of battle, continued to gallop. This entertainment, my dear friend, was extremely unique. First of all, because in spite of strong ringlets and reliable armor, in such contests corpses occurred with astonishing regularity. Knights had no fear of death. In those glorious times, it was considered unseemly and even a bit shameful to be afraid of death. However, the natural decrease in the number of professional military elites did not bring anyone joy. Therefore, the organizers of the tournaments, having thought about and consulted with the most authoritative participants, began to humanize the tournament weapons. They started with the most popular weapon, the spear. The tournament lance in the second half of the XI century was essentially no different from the combat lance. In fact, it was a battle lance. Even the fact that it was not sharpened before the tournament did not make it less dangerous. On the contrary, it was even more dangerous. The tournament knight's strike did not depend on how sharpened the point of the spear was. A spear held firmly under the arm, laced with the full weight of an armored rider and his horse, delivered crushing blows that surpassed the force of a hammer in the hands of a hammer thrower. It easily penetrated the armor and pierced not only shields, but also helmets. Even Tophomes, helmets that were designed to protect against spear strikes, did not always do the job, especially helmets of lighter designs and other elements of classic medieval armor, such as brigantines and splinted brigantines. The first step in reducing the lethality of spears was to change the shape and size of their tips. Tournament spears began to be equipped with much wider leaf-shaped points instead of the narrow, elongated spear blades. However, this change did not bring a significant improvement. Spears with such tips remained extremely dangerous weapons, collecting a bloody tribute tax at tournaments from the bravest, but not always sensible young knights. A second attempt to reduce the lethality of tournament spears was the realization of the need to wear heavier armor. After all, in a tournament there is no need to run away, no need to rescue a wounded comrade in arms, and the head can be kept in a static position. However, this idea, while reasonable, also failed to produce the expected results. Despite the advent of the progressive XII century, it was still about 200 years before the appearance of quality plate armor and full-fledged lats. Even the best chainmail could not withstand the impact of even a blunted spear. Realizing that problems with armor remained, tournament organizers began to introduce rules, hoping to make them safer. For example, the concept of breaking the lance was introduced. Now the knight did not need to knock the opponent off his horse. It was enough to accurately point a blow into the opponent's shield, and if the lance broke into pieces, it meant that the blow was successfully delivered. The emergence of clear rules, simple and understandable for knights, as well as clear technical requirements for weapons, gave a new impetus to the development of tournaments. When tournaments had normalized regulations, knights had clear rules and gunsmiths had clear technical specifications. Things took a much more manageable direction. The first thing medieval armorers did was to change the material of the spear shaft. Since spears now had to break on impact, they were made of light and brittle wood, such as alder, fir, and other similar species that could not withstand extreme loads. This simple solution had an immediate effect on the mortality rate of tournament participants. However, it was not enough, because in tournaments, as in war, anything could happen. The spear tip became shorter and wider than in battle spears. Even with the use of a flimsier and thinner shaft, such as the tournament spear, it remained deadly. Even with the rule of striking strictly at the shield, at most at the helmet, it didn't always help prevent serious damage. In addition, if one knight broke two of the enemy's spears and the other broke only one, the one who broke the two spears won. However, if the knight who broke one spear broke his opponent's helmet, it was considered a draw for both. In the XII century, despite the indignation of veterans of many wars and winners of numerous tournaments that the youth is no longer the same, the coronal, a pike tip with several short spikes from 3 to 5 centimeters long, made in the form of an open crown and without a blade as such, began to come into fashion. Such a tip had a much larger contact area with the target and technically could not do much damage to armor. Even in the case of a miss, when the blow came not on the shield or helmet, but on the chest or arm protected by a reliable armor, it was very likely not to penetrate the armor, but simply broke the ribs and caused serious damage, turning the insides into a chop. This, of course, was extremely unpleasant, but was not always fatal. Over time, evolving tournament rules and advances in armor made tournaments even less dangerous for knights by the end of the 14th century. Knights participating in tournaments did not just dress in regular armor, but used special tournament sets. Tournament sets of armor were reinforced compared to the usual battle armor. This provided not only excellent protection from spear blows, but also increased stability of the knight in the saddle. The increased mass of the armor also added kinetic energy, which the knight transferred when striking his opponent. This made tournament fights impressive and spectacular, while maintaining a higher level of safety for the participants. In this simple way, through effort, strict rules, and the exclusion of the most lethal variants, the knight's lance, which was the main weapon and an extremely dangerous tool of war, has become the symbol of the spear of courtesy. It is an impressive, beautiful, and majestic weapon, but with maximally reduced effectiveness in combat. According to this claim, many knights, barons, counts, and even the French King Henry II would disagree. During one tournament, Constable Montgomery accidentally threw back the visor on Henry's second helmet with a blow of his lance, and the splinter of the lance ended up in the hand of the constable and struck the king in the eye. This accidental event demonstrates that even in tournament form, the lance remained a very dangerous weapon. Even in the 15th and 16th centuries, tournaments were usually accompanied by maimed and dead participants. It is worth noting, however, that the number of casualties was greatly reduced compared to the 11th century, when tournaments became a popular and sublime pastime of chivalry.